This will be a you versus them for Capricorn. On the right here, we have the hawk. And on the left, we have the otter. It's a very interesting situation and dynamic in this one here, because the hawk doesn't want or doesn't think anyone's looking at them. Like, they're up so high, they don't believe anyone can actually see them. But the otter here is looking at the hawk. That's the way it's placed on my table. So the otter's looking at the hawk. But if I was to do it that way, it wouldn't make sense. So the otter's looking at the hawk here, which doesn't seem possible because the otter is in the water, whereas the hawk is in the sky. So how can the otter see the hawk? But the otter with the circle here, they have some type of vision. They can see something, like they have a telescope, or they can see something. They have a vision. There's something here where they can see beyond what people can actually think, like what people actually think they can see. So the hawk's minding its own business here. It's doing its own thing. It's flying in the sky. It's looking at everyone else, but it doesn't actually see the otter looking at it because it's so high up. The hawk has amazing vision too, so I'm not sure why the hawk can't see the otter, but it's not paying attention to the otter, but the otter is definitely paying attention to the hawk. There's freedom here in this circumstance, so the otter has freedom in some type of way. And again, with some type of circle situation here, there's something to do with a vision or something circular here. Oh, it flipped out. It flew. Oh, the hawk, it flew in the sky. We have and again, the owl. So again, something to do with birds and flying. The feather of swords, so the Queen of Swords here. The otter knows when to speak and knows when to say something. And I feel like the otter's waiting for the right time to speak to the hawk because it's been freed of something. It's had some type of freedom here. The otter has had to stand up for themselves and gain some type of independence from a circumstance. And now they've gained some type of independence. They're wanting to speak to the hawk, but the hawk doesn't even realize the otter's around. I feel like the hawk and otter may have known each other in the past. And the otter may have got caught up in something, but they've never taken their eyes off the hawk. And now the otter is out. They're free. They've gotten some type of like victory in something, and they're a little bit scared. Like, they're a little bit scared of the dark, and they need some type of guidance here. And I feel like they're looking for guidance from the hawk. There is some type of maturity that the otter has come into wherever they've been, but it's like they haven't been in this type of area before. They haven't been in this place before, and they know the hawk is here. The hawk may be a family member or someone that they were connected to in some way, but the hawk has a lot of connections within family, and they have a lot of security, and there's something around, they're protected from any type of darkness as well. So whatever the otter is facing, I feel like the otter cannot get to the hawk right now because they're in a dark place and the hawk is protected by the dark. It's not that the otter's a bad person or anything along those lines. It's just the otter can't get to the hawk's level just because they're being weighed down within circumstances at the moment. So I'm getting things like maybe the otter was in jail or something like that, or maybe the otter was in a circumstance where we have the devil underneath, addictions or something like that, in a circumstance where things were really not going the otter's way, and the otter may have made some really bad choices. But I feel like the otter is out of that now. They have clarity now. They know where they stand. They've been freed in some way, so they've served their time, and they have a lot of like wisdom now. That they know their maturities around their thoughts. They're a different person. They've won this battle, but now that they've won this battle, they're out in the streets by themselves. They don't know what to do with themselves because they're all by themselves for the first time, and they've gotten out of a situation, but it's still dark. And that they need to find some type of light in a situation. They need to find some type of guidance. And the hawk is the guidance. So this may be a family member that the otter wants to go see, but they're worried about how the hawk may talk to them or portray them like you did this or you did that, or yeah, there's some type of stress around what the otter may owe the hawk as well. Like maybe the otter may owe the hawk money, or may the you know, something around the otter owing the hawk their time. Maybe the hawk helped the otter out before. The hawk may have given the otter some type of advice or some type of guidance before. I feel like the otter is innocent this time. They're not going to do what they did before. But the hawk is still stressed out about this situation. Now, I'm reading from the hawk's perspective when it comes to the situation, but keep in mind the hawk doesn't actually know that, they're not aware that the otter's there. If they were aware the otter was there, I'm not sure if they would feel the same way. Because at the moment, the hawk is just thinking about this situation, not knowing the otter is actually there. So if the hawk was to see the otter, they would get very stressed out and think about all the things that hawk has done for the otter. But if the hawk was to actually know that it's like a fantasy at the moment. They don't actually realize that the otter's out, wherever the otter is, that the otter's looking at them. There's some type of vision here that I feel like if the hawk actually realized that the otter was in the dark looking for something and struggling to find the light, I feel like the hawk would 100% lend a hand and help the otter out. So I feel like there's something around the otter being able to read the energy of the hawk, thinking the hawk doesn't actually want anything to do with the otter, but the hawk does want to help the otter if the hawk knew that the otter needed help. But the otter won't speak up because it's like, who's going to make the first move? Well, the hawk can't make the first move because it doesn't even know the otter's anywhere in its reality. This is a family member of some sort as well, a family member that's been estranged from one another for a while because of some type of stressful situation. Oh, I'm going to get those again because the deck's been giving me a fair few cards to work with, and there we go. The High Priestess. So I feel like there's some type of inner wisdom and inner knowledge that's going to bring these two together, and that there's going to be a discussion about how to create some type of harmony or celebration or some type of connection or plans together to help the otter see through this circumstance and get themselves out into the clear. Yeah, with the Six of the Ace of Swords there, the Six of Wands and the Six of Swords is showing itself there. So I feel like as soon as the hawk spots the otter, and I feel like the hawk knows, somehow the hawk knows, like he doesn't actually know that the otter's out, but he has this sense, and because it's going through his mind, he's trying to think of all the ways he's going to deal with the situation when he sees the otter. So I think time will only tell at the moment whether the otter asks for the hawk's help, but the hawk is willing to help. We'll just see how it goes, I guess.